What if I told you that you can fall head over heels in love with yourself? I'm talking that all-consuming, can't get enough, love everything about you type of love. Well, you can. The Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast is here to show you how. Every week, we'll share tested strategies, personal stories, and invaluable resources to help you take a balanced approach to loving yourself. Here's your host, Carrie, the Balanced Nurse. Let's get to the love.
Hey ladies, welcome back to another episode here with me. I'm Carrie, your host of Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast, and we are getting ready to continue our vibe, right, from last week. I had amazing feedback, and I knew it was going to be right on time just because I always know that when I'm guided to work in themes, it's on time for the right amount of people. And so we were talking about clarity last week, really manifesting through clarity when it came to the area of love. And as promised, I'm going to dig into finances this week. But before I do any of that, I really want to extend my gratitude for you coming back and or just visiting and spending time with me. Your beautiful energy is always welcomed, and I know you could be anywhere, but you're here with me, and so thank you. All right, so if you are someone like myself, I am a girl that I'm all about my coins. And if you are too, and you're wanting to know how you can level up in that area from an energetic space, this episode is for you. Let's do it. All right, so clarity. How do I simplify this? So my goal, right, as I mentioned last week, is always to simplify what others consider to be the woo-woo to where it is practical and something that you can start to take action with right now, today, and or yesterday for you guys that are really goal slayers. So I want to start this off with a story just because I feel as though it I think that'll be appropriate. Okay, so listen, most of you guys are familiar, and if you are just joining our vibe, I'll bring this up every now and then, but my self-love journey, where I really fell into like this work that I now do and specialize in, was when I had separated from my now husband. And we had a bunch of issues, but it all, came down to me having to work through depression, anxiety, giving too much of myself, knowing what I wanted, right? And so in that, we had just separated and moved into my space. And I had an office area. So it's my room, my son's room, and then I had an office area. And I kept just throwing all like the business stuff and office stuff and envelope stuff and mail stuff and whatever it was that required me to actually do some thinking and doing went into this room. And my thought was like, you know what, let me just get the house together. And when I have time, right, I will go and get that office together. So we owned a home and that we had been renting out. And of course, now you got to just pay close attention as I'm like focusing on, let me decorate this and get this right. And let me order this and And I get hit with a bill for something for the home that we owned. And I'm like, damn. All right, now I got to sit down and I got to deal with this because it's not something that I could, throw in this office as I had been doing for, at this point, it's about a month, right? Throwing stuff in this office. So I sit down and I start to not only go through this bill, but I'm like opening up the envelopes of other stuff that I kept saying, I'll deal with that later. And it's like, oh my gosh, okay, all right, how am I going to organize all this stuff? Because obviously there's been a lot of things coming my way that I've just been like hitting the pause button on. And this is the universe's way of saying, hey, tap, tap, playtime is over. We got some things that we need you to give your full attention to. So I had the weekend to myself, and normally I would have planned something for the weekend, something social, blah, 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 blah. And I said, you know what? I am going to sit this weekend and go through all this stuff in this office. Let me organize this. By the time I was done going through everything in the office, I had a folder of things that needed to be paid and or needed to be addressed. All of it needed some type of financial attention from me that I had been sweeping under the rug and or in this case behind this office door until I had time, right? And so then it hit me where I said, oh my gosh, how and what am I going to do to address this? Because now it's like, the type A in me is like, I need this fixed and I need this fixed now. So I sat down and I got a folder and I wrote down all of the balances and or responsibilities or whatever from the lowest balance to the highest balance. And then I added it all up and I was like, all right, girl, this is what you need to make this problem go away for you. Because now that I was aware of it, it was a problem, right? And I'm a problem solver. So I said, okay, this is what you need to make this problem go away. The office was clean and tidied. I had everything organized and, duplicates and shredding and all of that was taken care of. So now it's like, here it is in my face. What am I going to do? So it moved me out of a space of, first of all, shoving it under the rug, putting a blind eye to it, distracting myself, right? Which is what I have been doing. And let me redecorate my space, blah, 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 to now facing this problem head on. These are the numbers, girl. What are you going to do? So now that I was in that space, I said, oh my gosh, I can't just relax the way I've been relaxing. I got to do something more because I need this problem fixed. Well, that was on a Saturday. By Monday, I got a call, and that call was for an assignment. I teach nursing students. It was for an assignment, and the contract that they wanted me to sign. Are you listening? Listen, turn this up because this is the important part. The contract that they wanted me to sign was to the dollar of what I needed to make this problem go away. You hear what I'm telling you? Right? So for me, without me knowing what I know now, I said, oh my goodness, because I decided to give up my weekend, organize myself, and really sit down from an honest space of saying, what exactly is going on here? What exactly do I need? I was able to align with exactly what that was and call it in like nobody's business on a Monday. This was done on a Saturday and on a Monday. And I signed that contract. Right? And so that kept me in a space of, girl, let's just get this done. The contract was about a 3-month contract. And I like to share the story when I start to talk about manifestation when it comes to finances or clarity when it comes to finances, because I do not like people to get lost in the hocus pocus sauce. There's a lot of action and intention that is our responsibility when it's time for us to really co-create what it is that we want, right? And so once I had that huge aha moment, I'm like, all right, girl, you got this contract, you're doing this thing, you're readjusting to this new lifestyle or what have you. And so I started to do my weekly, what I would call my money meeting, right? Because I felt as though, I uncovered that there were habits and beliefs that needed to be addressed. And the only way that I was going to address those things was sitting with them regularly, right? I noticed the damage that I was able to do in just pretending or distracting myself. But I said, well, if I'm able to do that amount of damage, I wonder how much magic I can do if I'm intentional and I show up for myself every week. And that's exactly what I did and what I do still to this day, as far as a money meeting every week where, it's non-negotiable for me. And it causes you to really check yourself, but then also, reward yourself, celebrate yourself, because we are all working hard, doing something, working towards something. Do you actually stop to evaluate your progress and either give yourself a high five or give yourself that well-needed talking to and say, girl, listen, cut it out, get on it, right? And, I guess that in adopting these habits or just digging into this lifestyle of co-creating and taking on this responsibility, it brings me back to the old school saying that my mother, whatever your beliefs are and religion, spirituality, or what have you, I appreciate and love all of it. But my mother used to say to me, well, you know what, girl, God doesn't give you more until you show that you can handle what you already have. And me just getting into a space of owning my power, I recognize that. Like, do I appreciate everything that I have right now? Can I handle more? Right? I remember last year we were going into a space of how we can work through our anxieties of not being where we want to be by asking ourselves a simple question of, if I were given what it is that I wanted so bad right now, could I handle it? Right? And very often the answer is no. Because energy is real. And if you could handle it, you would have already aligned yourself with that thing, girl, right? So there's some work to be done. And that normally calms the anxiety down, without a problem, where it's like, all right, actually, no, because I got to get my time management down. I need more sleep. I got to drink more water. I got to do more squats. I got to sit down and do these money meetings. Right? And so I'm giving you this very long preface to what we're digging into, because I hope that it is helping to prime you as far as how important it is for you to commit to doing some degree of work when we're talking about manifesting money, finances, what I like to call the tangible. Okay. And so let's talk about how you can do this for you, because I will say that this is an area that I think, because I had that hiccup of an experience, I've been able to step into a space of manifesting financial abundance effortlessly. And I think I know that it is because of all the work that I have done and continue to do on my limiting beliefs. And we will dig into that. All right. It's important for you to know that money is energy. All right. I'm not even going to debate on this. Money is energy. And so once we recognize that, we will, there's a sense of reflection that you need to do with yourself and enlightening yourself. And as a side note, I'd like to recommend the book Happy Money. geez, I'm not remembering the author's name right now, but you know what I'll do? I will promise to leave a link in the episode details of whatever platform you're listening to. I don't have any kind of affiliate connections with them. It's just a book that I absolutely love, and it really drives home the concept of viewing money as energy and taking the responsibility that we're supposed to take when we are dealing with it. All right. So if you're trying to manifest money, recognizing that it is energy is the most important before you step into any of these steps. And then the first real step is for you you have to determine and clarify what it is that you want and why. When I say that, sometimes people, it's like they have like these earplugs that go in before I could get the and why out. The and why normally takes a little bit longer because you have to dig a little bit deeper, right? Saying, I want money to buy whatever I want is easy, right? It's easy. Why? Because we're flighty as hell. What we want changes by the season, by the minute, by the weather, by the social media posts, by our hunger levels. Like, seriously, let's take responsibility for being flighty, right? As opposed to saying, I want a certain amount of money to buy my house, to put my kids through college, to save up for 6 months of expenses, to fund my business for the first year, to take 2 to 3 vacations a year. It's very different because now you have to be very specific and intentional, and behind all of the work that you are going to do energetically, you are going to realize how important intention is, right? We can't be scatterbrained with this. You have the power, and you are a magical and magnetic soul. However, there's a responsibility that comes with that, and I have to keep driving that home because you'll see that you'll have to take responsibility for both the good and bad that comes with manifesting what it is that you want. And in this case, when we talk about finances. So if you're that person that you don't check your balances and you swipe, and then you act surprised when you're declined, or, you're buying, packages coming, and then, a bill doesn't get paid and it's like, oh, what happened? I'm not calling you out, but I am. It's a matter of having a scattered energy or scattered intention when it comes to your finances. So of course, no matter how hard you work, it makes total sense why you're not able to get ahead, because you're not taking responsibility for the energy that you're putting into generating that money to now what you're doing with that money, and then now calling in more money. Okay? So you want more money, no problem. You are entitled to it. You are meant to be abundant. What is it that you want? What are you going to do with this money? Right? All right. So then now when we get into that space of, okay, these are my intentions, I know exactly what I want. The other side note, part B or C, whatever, that I should scatter on here is you want to set these intentions because through this work, you will meet roadblocks, hiccups, confusions, trouble, right? And you want to be able to navigate those uncomfortable issues with ease by staying focused on what it is that you want and why. Because when we are not committed to something, you understand, it's easy for us to say, oh gosh, maybe this is not for me. I don't want to, I'm not going to do it today, right? So that's the most important. So if you do nothing else this week, I need you to determine how much money or what is your financial situation that you'd like to manifest, and clarify why. Okay. Next step is an and or. I would love for it to be more of an and as opposed to an or. Visualizing and feeling. All right. What is this desire going to look like for you? Okay. Are you going to carry yourself a particular way? Are you going to feel a certain kind of way? You know, what are you going to be able to do? And can you see yourself doing that? Okay. You can apply this to any particular area of anything that you are manifesting. But when we are talking about money and you get intentional with what it is that you want. So let's say the vacation that you want. What bikini are you wearing, girl? Where are you going? I remember when I had put my board that I wanted, I'm in love with the color pink. And I'm like, all right, I want to go on a pink sand beach for one of my birthdays. One of my biggest things are like on my birthdays, I treat myself historically with some kind of self-love trip or something to where I'm like severely loving on myself. And so I had set the intention where I'm like, all right, I want to be on a pink sand beach, right? And I had already been able to see like my bikini that I was going to be wearing on this pink sand beach. How beautiful it was going to be. My skin was going to be glowing and how I was going to be feeling, you know. And fast forward a year later, I most definitely was on that pink sand beach, wearing the bikini, doing the poses and feeling exactly the way that I had visualized myself feeling, right? Come up with a money dance. Come up with I say to my son, like the shoulder dance, whatever it is that you do to bring you into that space of saying, girl, you got this. That's mine already. It's in the bag. Because you need something to work towards that is believable. And trust me, it's believable as much as you believe it. What is that thing that you need to do to have you buy into that, right? Because this is not just a commercial for you. And by that, I say, you know, with commercials, they do a really great job, right? When you see something as far as an ad or a commercial, they show you images and experiences and so forth where it's like, oh, I could see myself having that. Oh, I could see that in my house. Oh, I could see me wearing that, right? You are your own commercial, and tapping into this, you are tapping into this all the time, and this is keeping you to where you're moving forward in whatever it is that you have to do so that you can make sure that you are able to accomplish that visualization and feel that way that you are already familiar with feeling, right? That's why feeling with manifestation is so important. Do not be, it's not about, there's a space for toxic positivity where it's like, oh gosh, people don't like to acknowledge life, they're overly positive. No. But there's a place for really taking ownership for how you feel the majority of the time. And if you're trying to manifest abundance, at least in my opinion, is not something that is supposed to make you feel miserable. It doesn't align with misery. So why are you so committed to being miserable all the time? If you're abundant, are you going to be complaining about the same nonsense that you're complaining about right now? Of course not. So don't do it. Right? Which is a great segue into the next tip. And honestly, it is, I know I said that the first tip was the most important, but that I think is also right in alignment with this tip of focusing on your limiting beliefs. Okay, what are your limiting beliefs around money? Okay. And when I say limiting beliefs, what is it that you have been conditioned to believe about money that does not currently have you in a space of where you want to be? And the first place that you normally want to check that is almost always responsible has to do with something generational. Go back to your childhood, check your parents or whoever it is that raised you. And what were their beliefs about money? You know, I share that I come from two parents that are severely hardworking, high standards, with this belief system of saying, you know, you have to work severely hard in order to make it. And make it for them is where my limiting beliefs came. Like, you don't spend a certain amount of money on certain things, or you work yourself to the ground, or you overgive in you know, while knowing that that's going to come back energetically in this area or that area. And some of that is beneficial, but the parts that I found that were not were the areas that really affected me when it talked about when I went into trying to manifest abundance in a different way than what my parents would term abundance for them, right? So digging into that and understand that this is going to take a while, right? The faster that you are able to tell yourself, girl, you do not need to work 80 hours a week just to make it. Girl, you do not need to say yes to every overtime just to make it. Girl, you do not need to buy everything on sale just so that you can feel as though you've made it. Once you work through those limiting beliefs, you're going to start to see how things start to really attract to you, because you're breaking through where you have those barriers up to begin with. So even if your abundance is like hanging out right there a month or 2 weeks out, those limiting beliefs are right there front and center. Like, you're not coming over here. You're not breaking through us, because this is what we believe, right? Some of it is your conditioning. Again, going back to environmental, check your friends, check your circle, right? Are you afraid to do something against the norm because your circle has not done that or is not familiar with that? So now you're feeling as though, oh, what are they going to say if I do this? What are they going to say if I start this business? What are they going to say if I take this risk? If I do limiting belief. Check your personality. You know, do you feel like everything has to be perfect? The timing, the branding, the relationship, your weight, whatever, before you are able to check that. If that's what it is, get it out of there, girl. That is in your way, right? I feel as though when we are really serious about manifesting our finances, outside of like, okay, clarifying, visualizing, feeling, digging into our limiting belief is the heavy lifting. This is where I spent and continue to spend, right? Because I had, you know, hands up, full disclosure, I had a bunch of limiting beliefs and still do that I work through in order to allow me to be in alignment with what it is that I'm so deserving of, right? So this particular area for me is what I like to call my specialty, because it's where I've done so much work. So I'd like to, I don't think I want to sprinkle more for you, because my homework for you this week, you know, we always have action steps. My homework for you is to first identify what your current habits and beliefs are that are not serving you as far as manifesting the financial abundance that you want. Okay. And so for me, me sharing that story with you as far as saying, listen, I was throwing everything in the office. I was sweeping things under the rug. I was waiting until the shit hit the fan before I absolutely decided I'm going to do something about it. And so that was a habit for me. Not having regular money meetings was a poor habit for me, where to be able to clear out all of that nonsense and to shift what was going on for me financially, I had to shift those habits and needed to commit to that, right? And then now dig into your beliefs. What do you truly believe about money? Where do you want to go? And what is it that's standing in your way as to why you're not there? Right? And it's just you sitting with you. And if you feel like you really need more help digging into this and that you're feeling like you can't do it alone, listen, any of the links that are in the episode details of whatever platform you're listening on, click them, connect with me. That's what I'm here for. I'd love to help, right? Outside of that, just do the work, girl, and keep doing your math differently. And I'll see you next week. All right? Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Self Plus Love Equals Balance. Be sure to rate and review us on whatever app you use to listen. It goes a long way in helping others find our community. Until then, remember to do your math a little differently and love yourself.